In this short video, I would like to explore why Magento needs price indexers, right? Um, the motivation behind this video is a lot of times we face indexing issues, but because we don't know what was the original requirement for indexation, we cannot really do anything when it comes to fixing the process or improving its performance. So before we can improve Magento price indexer performance, it is very important that we fully understand what is this indexation process about, and why does it take so much time, and what purpose does it serve, right? So that's what this video is about. Now let's look at the very primary basic requirement, which is display minimum and regular price on product listing pages, and each page will have 34 products, and these pages should be fast. Now think about this. As a developer, let's say you're already aware about EAV, which is entity attribute value. And you say, you know what, this requirement is fairly simple. All I need to do is have a price attribute and store the value against each product in catalog product entity table catalog. So this is how now we will be taking steps to solve this problem, and we'll see how, as the requirement changes, what are the additional problems we start facing, what are the performance issues that we start facing, and how indexation can help us to solve those performance problems, and we will eventually arrive at the indexation as a solution. So let's say first the requirement is very simple. The client has told you that there will only be prices. For now, don't think about special prices or tier prices. Just think about simple prices, right? And simple products. That's all. That's all your catalog contains. So catalog product entity decimal. This is the table where you are storing all your prices, where you have entity ID, which is actually the product ID, then attribute ID. This is going to be same for all prices because price is only one attribute. Assume for now, say it is 90, right? And then you have value, which is actually the price. So say for this product 1, the price is 50. Product 2, the price is 40. This is how Magento stores prices, the simple prices, right? And imagine there are 1,000 such products. Now what you will be doing as a developer is simply query this table. When you're fetching all the other product data, you will get the value of this particular product data, the price data, and you'll be able to display this on the front end. Now this is a very straightforward implementation, right? And if you look at it, you just have to fetch the data and show it on the front end, which is simple enough. Nothing complicated done here. Now let's look at let's add complexities on top of this. So the first complexity that we are going to talk about is, yeah. So the first complexity that we will talk about is the concept of special prices. And in fact, let me jot down all the requirements here, right? These are the additional requirements. Let's say additional pricing model requirements, right? Let's first talk about special prices. There are two aspects to special prices. One is I should be able to add a special price to a particular product, and that special price should be valid for a particular date. These are the two aspects, right? Special prices for products valid between a date range. Okay, at this point as a developer you will say, you know what, okay, this sounds very easy. I will add another attribute called special prices, and I will also store it and in that table, and I will display the special price on the front end. At this point the client will say, you know what, since we have a special price which is lower than the actual price, I would like to show the customer that we are giving you say 20% discount, 30% discount, which has to be calculated, right? So you say, okay, that sounds straightforward. All I have to do when showing the price or adding the when the customer is doing add to cart is calculate the minimum of 2 and also do the discount calculation, the percentage calculation, right? So consider the product 1, say this is a bag of rupees 900, and right now the discounted price, special price is 800. Price and special price, right? Now while doing your add to cart, you'll have to ensure that this price is added to cart. Another thing is you also need to do a calculation on the front end on listing page where you show the discount, which is 100 rupees off. And this too is fairly a straightforward requirement. Of course you also have to do check that 800 should be applicable only between given valid date ranges. Okay, so far we are good. There is absolutely no problem here. Now because your customer has different kind of different kinds of buyers, your customer, your vendor, the merchant wants to add some more pricing models. And what are these pricing models? Now let's look at those pricing model and let's see how these pricing models start making it complicated. So the first pricing model is catalog. So the first pricing model we'll look at is catalog rules. Now here the requirement is I should be able to apply percentage or flat discount on a category of products. Category being a very important keyword here. Category of products, right? Now let's see what this does to your performance. Okay, now in this case we are considering two things. You can also add special price. The product can have special price, right? Now here you need to do multiple things to calculate minimum price here. To calculate min price, you need to first calculate the product price based on the catalog rule, right? The catalog rule can be of two type, right? Either flat discount. Now this contributes to a if condition that you'll have, or it can be flat percentage discount. Now in this case, you need to do this calculation on the fly when the page is being rendered for 36 products, right? Which means first you need to retrieve this data, which is retrieve the catalog rule. Also check if product belongs to the category mentioned in catalog rule, right? You also need to do this. So the first step is you need to check if the product belongs to the category. Then if it is true, then you need to check if this discount that you want to provide is flat discount or percentage based discount, right? And finally, you need to display minimum of special price and the rule based price. Here I mean catalog rule based price, right? You would have to do this, and all of this you're doing this for 36 products which are available on the listing page or search page. Now at this point, as a developer, you might say, hey, but this will be slow only for the first time, right? Because later on the page will be cached. Now the problem with that is people will obviously apply filters on your website, reverse sort, or they'll search, and none of this is cached, which means every time they do this, they will experience the performance degradation. Now, and we still haven't fully gone into the complexity of the Magento pricing model. Catalog rules, special pricing, these are only two kinds that we have discussed, right? Now, there is an additional complexity that the customer wants, which is tier pricing. The requirement changes to tier pricing. Tier price, which will be based on quantity that the customer buys, customer group, right? And the website. In fact, in general, the pricing will be based on website. This is what tier pricing would be, right? For different customer groups and for different quantity, there will be different tiers of pricing. If I buy 5, I might get it might be 100 rupees. For 10 quantity, it might be lesser, it might be 90 rupees, right? So considering all these aspects, now the pricing logic becomes minimum of, if we look at this, special price, then you have tier price. This is super complicated because now if I have tier pricing and if I'm going to calculate this on the fly, this will be very costly and wasteful of CPU cycles, because on every single refresh the result's not gonna change, right? Then third is catalog rules, rule based price. Minimum of these 3 will be, and of course for the regular price. And while displaying the prices on the front end, for example, a lot of stores display minimum price and regular price. To do that, you will need to calculate minimum of regular price, catalog rule, tier price, and special price, right? And this is not the complete complexity yet. There is one more layer that we haven't discussed yet. Let's discuss that. This is the pricing, but in Magento, we also have configurable products, right? Configurable products with variations products. I'll just write product with variations. Now, what is the complexity that these products add, right? The trick is here that the minimum price of configurable product is minimum price of all children, right? If there are 6 children, then price of the configurable product, minimum price of the configurable product and price of the configurable product depend on your you know mm, your requirement on which child product should be selected as default. Now the default algorithm that comes with Magento is lowest price of all. This is the algorithm that Magento uses, but you could change it, right? You could base it on a sort order or some different attribute, right? But then you need to factor in the indexation process accordingly. But important thing here is the price that you will show on the listing pages by default depends on the child products, right? The minimum price that you'll show, the label that you see is as low as, right? When you see that, it means you will be displaying the price of the child product that has minimum price, right? This is one more complexity, and when you are calculating this, you also need to factor in the setting, which is display in stock products. In stock, sorry, I think the settings name is not this. The setting name is with display out of stock products, right? And why does this setting affect? Because this setting tells Magento whether to include out of stock products in price calculation or not. So this is the price calculation of configurable product or not. So this is also a very important aspect. Another thing is, obviously, when you're calculating price of the configurable product that needs to be displayed, you also need to check whether all children are enabled or are there any disabled products also, right? So you can see how this calculation is becoming more and more complicated. And now one last layer that there is to this whole display logic on the front end is this additional setting that you have is display prices inclusive of tax or exclusive of tax, right? This is additional layer that you need to factor in. And all of this calculation, if you keep doing it on every render, that would really degrade Magento performance. Why? Because you have to calculate it over and over and over, right? You would have to do a lot of queries before you can reach to final minimum price. So what is the solution to this? The solution to this would be to calculate once and store it. So indexation, in my experience, according to me, indexation is not really the best word for what is happening in the background. If you had to think what we are really doing is we are calculating price and then we are storing it, and generally this mechanism is known as caching, right? So now let's look at how would we implement this, right? So now we have agreed, now we agree upon the problem statement. Let's just write down our problem statement. It is calculating minimum price on the fly, or on when the page is being rendered. I'm just gonna write on the fly is costly, and costly refers to performance, right? This is the problem and solution to this problem that we are discussing right now. There could be multiple solutions, but we are going to talk about the solution that has been implemented in Magento. Solution is, I'm just going to make it solution, calculate minimum and maximum, minimum, final and maximum price by customer group and website. Customer group and website. Store it in a table. Use this newly created table on listing pages. And you will notice that Magento only uses these tables, index tables, on listing pages, not on details pages, because on details pages I only need to do this for one product, so relatively less costly, right? And you will also notice that index tables are not used for add to cart or cart update, because in those cases it is important to not have any mistakes. You know that indexers are, at least as of now, aren't fully reliable. There will be times when the price that is shown on the listing page is outdated, right? But you do not want to make that mistake for your add to carts or cart updates, right? The correct price should be added in the cart, and that is why for add to carts or product detail pages, the original source of data is used, which is catalog product entity decimal or catalog tier price tables. So that's what we do for